Hello, I'm Dave Northey from Microsoft in Ireland, and I'm here inside Microsoft interviewing a few local IT professionals. So we'll start with you, Aidan. Would you please introduce yourself?
I'm Aidan Finn. I'm an MVP here in Ireland, and I'm a member of the IT Pro Momentum programme. And I'm an active blogger on joelway.spaces.live.com.
And Aidan, you work for C-Infinity, so what does C-Infinity do?
C-Infinity is a managed services organisation, so we provide services such as data security using online backup, data encryption for laptop users, mobile users, outsourced monitoring of infrastructure, and managed server hosting.
And in terms of size now, you're a relatively small company and aspirations of being a very big one. What sort of numbers of users, PCs, workstations have you currently got?
C-Infinity is a relatively new company and we're still pretty small. One of our ambitions is to keep the organisation pretty small using the automation that we can get from the Microsoft System Center products. So rather than building up the human resources, we're building up the automation in our infrastructure. So that keeps the costs of our business down and makes us competitive.
I pretty much understand the way C-Infinity works and what you do. Basically, you run your whole business on Hyper-V and on System Center and the whole Microsoft stack. How do you convince the business to bet the business on Microsoft?
Okay, the original plan was we were going to be using one of the competitive products in terms of virtualization. And there were no fixed plans in terms of the system management infrastructure. I was employed to come in and deploy that using the experience I already had. My favourite products for this sort of thing have been the Microsoft System Center products. I've used them successfully in the past in several organisations, and they've made the infrastructure more dynamic, more responsive and more agile. So we deployed Microsoft System Center Operations Manager 2007, and that went really well with the first few clients that we hosted. In fact, the clients love it. They live off of it right now. And that convinced management that Microsoft System Center was the strategic way to go for managing our infrastructure. When we were planning the virtualization platform, we were looking at the competitor product from VMware. However, we decided we should give Hyper-V a good look. So we set up a lab environment, we tested it out, and we saw the strategy that Microsoft was taking. The key differentiator between Hyper-V and VMware was management. And that's what we believe our differentiator is with our competition. So we tested Hyper-V, we found it was rock solid, the performance was fantastic. And management-wise, it was going to be pretty good, especially when we combined Virtual Machine Manager 2008 with Operations Manager. So when management saw how good it was and how happy I was with the product, we decided it was the way to go. So
what have you ended up with? I know you can't go into detail of your customers and stuff, but what have you technically ended up with for your hosting environment?
We're running Blade servers with a fibre channel SAN, with Windows Server 2008 and Hyper-V. And that's all being managed using Virtual Machine Manager. We're running a Windows 2008 Active Directory for our management infrastructure. We're running WSUS for patching our infrastructure and for our clients' infrastructure. We're using System Center Operations Manager 2007 Service Pack 1 to monitor the health and performance not only of our infrastructure but of our hosted customers. Pretty soon we're hoping to deploy Ops Manager 2007 or 2, so we get the cross-platform extensions and the integrated SLA reporting. So these are features that are going to continue to evolve and give us competitive advantages over our competition, but also give our clients an infrastructure that they can be sure is the very best that they can get. Later this year, we'll be looking to deploy Hyper-V on Windows Server 2008 or 2, once Virtual Machine Manager 2008 or 2 is released.
So I know for a fact you've raised an awful lot, or a few anyhow, I'll give you a few. I know for a fact you've raised a few support tickets on IT Pro Momentum. So I know you've had a few issues along the way. So what sort of issues have you encountered from the early days up to now?
I've used it for several reasons. It could vary from trying to get information about supported configurations in production environments or lab environments, trying to find out how different features work or why they work. Sometimes it's a configuration issue that we're having, and sometimes it's a bug that we haven't seen anywhere else. So we've used that program to get access to that information and sometimes even raise awareness within Microsoft PSS.
And you also blog and share that information with other people too?
Absolutely. I blog everything that I find, so I can share that information with other people so they don't have to contact PSS. This is one of the great things about the IT Pro Momentum program, is that when we learn something, we can share this with other people. So I blog this stuff, I present it at user groups, I've done some white papers on my own blog as well, and I've been at conferences where I've been speaking about this stuff, so I'm able to talk to people about the issues I've encountered, how to deal with some of the issues, what configurations are supported, and how to do things to get the best possible results.
Assuming you could do it all again, would you change anything? Would you do anything different? Would you approach it differently?
Probably not.
Okay.
We used IT Pro Momentum from the very start for our evaluation. So we evaluated before we did anything. That helped us find out what the best configuration would be, what the best practices were. So before we even bought the production hardware, we knew what we were going to be doing. We knew what the architecture was going to be. When we put in the production environment, we'd already answered all the hard questions. We discovered all the configuration issues, so we knew what to do. We went through a triple process then of deploying the production environment. We did our initial build, sorted out any little remaining kinks in terms of hardware and drivers. Then we did a second build to make sure we got it all right, did lots of testing, and then we did the production build. And that took an hour to build the entire Hyper-V cluster, from OS deployment to getting failover clustering in place to getting Hyper-V up and running.
My final question is, so what's your plans for the future? What other projects have you got on the go? What's next?
Next one up is going to be Operations Manager 2007 or 2. We're really looking forward to the cross-platform extensions and the integrated SLA reporting. After that, we'll be looking at Windows Server 2008 or 2. I'm already actually looking at it myself, quietly on the side. But we'll definitely be deploying that, so upgrading our Active Directory and upgrading our Hyper-V servers so we can take advantage of the new features of Hyper-V. So live migration, cluster shared volumes, which will simplify the disk management on the SAN greatly. Slash virtual machine queue and core parking for saving on those power bills, which is a big cost for everybody. These are all great features that we're really looking forward to, and we'll be doing that in conjunction with Virtual Machine Manager 2008 or 2.
Okay, some good projects on the way. So on that note, I think Aidan we'll call it a day, and I'll thank you very much for your time, and we'll close it there. Thanks.
No problem, Dave.